What you're about to hear is too recent for comfort.
Let's get into it. In a locked facility in Texas, three animals fell asleep last night that have been extinct for 12,000 years. They eat, they hunt, they howl, and their howl sounds like nothing alive on this planet today. A wolf gone for 12,000 years. A bird that once darkened the sky with 5 billion wings. And the animal that built the Ice Age. All of them coming back. Number 7. The dodo. When people want to say something is gone forever, they reach for one word. Dodo. A synonym for finality itself, the closed door, the last page. The dodo lived on Mauritius, an island where, in all of its history, nothing had ever been worth fearing. So when Dutch sailors came ashore in the late 1600s, the dodo did not run. It walked toward them, curious, unafraid. It had no framework for what was coming. Sailors beat them to death with sticks. Invasive rats devoured their eggs. By 1681, the last dodo was dead, not from malice, but from the simple fact that trust, on the wrong island, is fatal. In a Dallas laboratory, scientists at Colossal Biosciences spent years trying to keep a single cell alive in a petri dish. Nicobar pigeon cells, from the dodo's closest living relative, die within hours. The team tried over 300 nutrient combinations. Then one worked. That night, the cells divided. Scientists stood over the microscope and said nothing. Today, those cells are being rewritten, gene by gene, into a dodo blueprint and implanted into chicken embryos as surrogate mothers. If the timeline holds, the first dodo-like chick hatches within 5 to 7 years. The island it once called home has changed beyond recognition. What returns will land on a shore its ancestors never knew. And the animal at number 2? It isn't a plan, it isn't a promise, it's already alive, right now, on this planet. Number 6. The passenger pigeon. Picture the sky going dark, not from clouds, from birds. Flocks of passenger pigeons so vast they blocked the sun for days as they passed. 5 billion of them, the most numerous bird species that ever existed on Earth. In 40 years, they were gone. Industrial-scale hunting through the 1800s wiped entire nesting colonies in a single season. The last was a female named Martha. She lived at Cincinnati Zoo. On September 1st, 1914, she died alone in her enclosure. The zookeepers found her on the floor. 5 billion, then one, then none. Ben Novak first read about the passenger pigeon at age 13. Alone in his bedroom, reading about a bird that had been dead for decades, and decided then to dedicate his life to it. He has spent his entire adult life on a species that went extinct before his grandfather was born. Today, working with the nonprofit Revive and Restore, he is editing passenger pigeon DNA into the genome of the band-tailed pigeon, first hatching targeted for the 2030s. We built the world that killed it, and that world is still standing. Number 5. The blue buck. You have almost certainly never heard of this animal, and that in itself is part of the tragedy. The blue buck was a slender antelope from South Africa, its coat shimmering silver blue in the light, unlike anything else on that continent. European colonists shot it for sport, not for food, not for survival, for sport. By 1800, none remained. One of the first large mammals driven to extinction in recorded history, and almost no one noticed. What survived? 4 stuffed skins. In museums in Leiden, Paris, Vienna, and Uppsala, 4 glass cases, the entire physical legacy of a species. In 2024, Colossal extracted DNA from one and rebuilt the bluebuck genome from what remained. In May 2026, it became Colossal's sixth official de-extinction project. First calf projected for 2028. 4 skins. Scientists say that is enough. Write in the comments, had you ever heard of this animal before today?
Number 4. The thylacine.
The thylacine looked like something nature assembled from spare parts. The body of a dog, tiger stripes across its lower back, a kangaroo tail, and a jaw that opened to 80 degrees, wider than any living dog breed. The last large carnivorous marsupial in Australia. And everything that made it extraordinary also made it a target. European settlers in Tasmania put a bounty on its head. On September 7, 1936, the last known thylacine died in Hobart Zoo. His name was Benjamin. He died of exposure. A keeper had forgotten to lock him inside before nightfall. There is footage of him pacing his bare enclosure, yawning, those extraordinary jaws open to the sky. Tasmania passed a law protecting the thylacine 2 months after Benjamin died. 2 months. In a Melbourne museum storeroom, staff found a glass jar untouched for 110 years. Inside, preserved in alcohol, a thylacine head, skin stripped from the skull, forgotten on a shelf. From its tissue, scientists built the most complete genome of any extinct animal in history. Professor Andrew Pask, an Australian geneticist at the University of Melbourne, joined Colossal as chief biologist. Over 300 precise edits now mark the genome of the fat-tailed dunnart, the thylacine's closest living relative. The law that could have saved Benjamin passed 2 months too late. This time, the scientists intend to be 2 months early. What's coming at number 1 is the reason this company was founded, and it arrives in 2028. Number 3. The moa. Stretch your arm above your head. Now imagine a living bird looking down at you from that height, and higher. The moa stood up to 3.6 meters tall and weighed up to 230 kilograms. It had no wings whatsoever. Over millions of years on islands with no predators, it had simply stopped growing them. When the Maori arrived by canoe approximately 700 years ago, 9 species of moa lived in New Zealand's forests. Within roughly 200 years, all 9 were gone. Their bones, never fossilized, still lie in South Island caves, as intact as the day those animals fell. Sir Peter Jackson, the New Zealand filmmaker, director of The Lord of the Rings, and winner of 3 Academy Awards, has collected moa bones since childhood. In July 2025, he became a colossal investor and handed his entire personal collection to scientists for DNA extraction. The indigenous Ngāi Tahu people, custodians of New Zealand's South Island, are formally collaborating. First complete moa genome expected by mid-2026. The forests this bird shaped over millions of years are gone. What comes back will walk through a stranger's world. Number 2. The dire wolf. Everything so far has been a project, a timeline, a promise. Number 2 is none of those things. Number 2 is already breathing. The direwolf was the apex predator of Ice Age North America. Heavier than any wolf alive today, broader skull, jaws built to bring down horses, bison, and ground sloths. It vanished 12,500 years ago when the great herds disappeared with the ice. And for 12,500 years, it was simply gone. Scientists at Colossal extracted DNA from a direwolf tooth 13,000 years old and a skull fragment 72,000 years old, then rewrote 20 physical traits across 14 key genes in the cells of a modern gray wolf. 2 males, Romulus and Remus, were born on October 1, 2024. A female, Khaleesi, followed on January 30, 2025. White-coated, broad-headed, with jaws stronger than any living wolf. At 6 months, they already weighed 36 kilograms each. Today, Romulus and Remus measure close to 2 meters in length, larger than any gray wolf on Earth. They were introduced slowly, through a mesh fence first, 5 minutes a day, until finally together. Today, all three hunt, sleep, and eat as one pack. And then researchers saw something that stopped them. These wolves fast for several days, then consume an entire deer carcass in a single sitting. No one taught them this. It is documented behavior of their Ice Age ancestors, surfacing spontaneously, without training, 12,500 years later. They are alive, but the world they were built for, the mammoths, the ground sloths, the open Pleistocene plains, no longer exists anywhere on this planet. Number 1 has been gone for 4,000 years. The people bringing it back have already set the date. Number 1. The woolly mammoth. 4,000 years ago, while Egyptians built the Great Pyramid and the first written words were pressed into clay in Mesopotamia, the last woolly mammoths were dying on Wrangel Island, a frozen outcrop in the Arctic Ocean. Then, silence. 4,000 years of it. One number, 99.6. The percentage of the woolly mammoth's genome identical to the Asian elephant's. The gap is 0.4%, and in a laboratory, that is not a wall. That is a rewrite. More than 200 scientists have sequenced over 50 complete mammoth genomes from Siberian permafrost. They have expressed mammoth traits in living animals. Lab mice with mammoth genes already grow mammoth fur, heritable across generations. The technology is not theoretical, it is running. Edited embryos will next be placed into an Asian elephant, whose pregnancy lasts 22 months, longer than any land animal on Earth. First mammoth calf? 2028. 4,000 years of silence. And then, a calf in Texas, breathing. Before you close this video, sit with 3 questions that have no easy answers. These animals return to a planet that has moved on without them. The Ice Age plains are gone. The sky-darkening flocks are gone. The ancient forests are gone. No one knows what a creature built for a vanished world does when it steps into the one we made. Every dollar funding a de-extinction project is a dollar not going to the 1 million species at risk right now, dying quietly, without a press release, without an investor. Why do scientists work to revive the dead while the living disappear? And behind all of it, one private company in Texas, with no global mandate, no democratic vote, deciding which animals return to this earth and which stay gone. Only capital, technology, and the will to play God. When perhaps what this planet needs is not a god, but a shepherd. Which side of this are you on?